The man accused of shooting and killing 5 people at a Florida airport has been denied bond.
Esteban Santiago will remain in jail after prosecutors presented new evidence at a hearing today. The FBI says Santiago has given a full confession and shed new light about his contact with other ISIS sympathizers in the weeks leading up to the shooting.
And Webber Jorquez is in Fort Lauderdale outside the courthouse with more. So Manny, what exactly did Santiago tell police in that confession?
Well, this was testimony that came from an FBI agent who interviewed Santiago soon after those attacks on January 6th. That agent told the court that Santiago said he had been in contact with like-minded individuals on the dark web planning attacks, and that he had frequented and been communicating in jihadi chat rooms. Now, of course, it's important to point out at this point that these are statements that were made to the FBI, according by that agent, by Santiago, but the FBI is still reviewing the physical evidence in this case, including Santiago's laptop and cell phone, to see if they can corroborate those claims. Now, it's also interesting to point out that he initially told Broward County Sheriff's deputies, according to deputies here, that he had planned and carried out this attack because he was hearing voices and he thought his mind was being controlled by the government. So really 2 different accounts of a possible motive here, but clearly this case still under investigation. It's just interesting that this is the first time we've heard the FBI describe his account of possibly visiting some ISIS chat rooms.
So Manny, given that there may have been an incident where he was in communication with some jihadi sympathizers, what is the next step in this case? Because that does change the way this case is going to be prosecuted if it turns out that this was a type of a terrorist attack.
And prosecutors and the sheriff's office here, as well as FBI agents, have said that still everything is on the table, that this is still very much an open-ended investigation, that they're still talking with relatives, reviewing his social media accounts, and any possible interactions. So at this point, it's still very early in the judicial process. What's next is that he will be indicted on murder charges, and then he will be arraigned at the end of the month.
And Webber Jorquez in Fort Lauderdale. Manny, thank you. And a close relative of the alleged airport gunman spoke to CNN today. Brian Santiago says his brother had mental health issues and was not well since he returned from the Iraq War. Here now, watch what this suspected killer's brother told CNN today. Take a listen.
I want to clarify this for the Puerto Rican people and for all the people in the world, that the federal government already knew his reaction. They already knew the thoughts that he was having and how they weren't good. He himself went after them to ask for help, and they did nothing. They had him hospitalized for 4 days, and then they let him go. How are you going to let someone leave a psychological center after 4 days when he is saying that he's hearing voices, that the CIA is telling him to join certain groups? This was in November. He was a peaceful person, amicable. Everyone who knew him would say the same thing, that he was an amicable person. He would always help me. He would always do favors for people. Various people have supported me, telling me that they know him and that they didn't treat him in enough time. These are people who know they didn't treat him, who know what veterans suffer from when they come back from the war. There are several of them who get help, and several others who, well, don't get the same follow-up. Not everyone has the same reaction when they return from war. Some are better and some not so much. It's too early to know our family's plans. We haven't been able to speak to him. The authorities have him. A government agency has come here to give us the notice that we can't speak to him. I'd like to talk to him. It's the first thing I want to do, talk to him to see how he is doing. I don't know when the trial will be. I was told soon, maybe. They are saying, well, Some channels are saying that he was Muslim. What happened was, when he went to Iraq, he bought a scarf. He bought it as a souvenir, and he took the photo with it as a memory of what he bought in Iraq. That is it. He didn't belong to any radical group. We were born under the Christian faith.
This morning, the FBI is trying to determine what caused a U.S. Army veteran to go on a deadly rampage inside a baggage claim at the Fort Lauderdale, Florida airport. Esteban Santiago is accused of killing 5 people and wounding 8 others before surrendering Friday. Investigators looked deep into his background and say he has no known connections to any terror groups.
Santiago is in federal custody this morning. Investigators say he boarded a flight that originated in Anchorage, Alaska on Thursday night, then stopped in Minneapolis before arriving in Florida. The shooting set off a day of chaos. Many flights were canceled, and some travelers were stranded at the airport until early this morning. David Begnaud is at Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood Airport. David, good morning.
Dana, good morning. Already 250 flights have been canceled here today in Fort Lauderdale. The airport reopened at around 5 a.m. Eastern time this morning. You wouldn't know it, though. It's pretty quiet behind me. That's Terminal 2 where the shooting happened, downstairs in the baggage claim area. This gunman is a man who authorities say left Alaska with only a gun and ammunition as checked luggage.
These are shots fired in this building.
Terrified passengers shot cell phone video moments after the gunfire erupted in Terminal 2 Friday afternoon.
Flying all around us.
Witnesses say Esteban Santiago emptied the semi-automatic handgun he had, then laid on the ground and surrendered to a sheriff's deputy.
He just came in, just randomly started shooting. He had a 9mm. Looks like he had a couple extra magazines because there's probably easy a couple dozen shots that he had. There was no rhyme or reason to it. He was not yelling, was not screaming anything. He was very calm and just shooting as though he's walking through the woods and just doing target practice, but only using people as his target.
But even with the suspected shooter in custody, the chaos continued for hours. This followed an unfounded report of a second shooting about an hour and a half after the first shooting. Panicked travelers fled the terminal. Thousands escaped onto the tarmac. Others ran for cover behind lines of cars.
Do you have relatives that are here?
Terminal 2, I've been trying to get to them. I returned the rental car and I've been able to get to them.
Did you get them on the phone?
Yeah, they're safe.
Hundreds of passengers were seen walking along a row of railroad tracks. They were ordered by police to keep their hands in the air. The panic caused air travel in and out of the airport to grind to a halt. Dozens of pilots with planes full of passengers were told to stay on the tarmac for hours. Late last night, buses could be seen transporting stranded travelers to a nearby shelter.
Yeah, had we been a little earlier or a little later, we could have been standing right there, and a little later we could end up at another airport. It's terrifying.
Police in Anchorage, Alaska say Santiago legally checked his gun when he boarded his flight on Thursday night. According to authorities in Florida, Santiago claimed his bag in Fort Lauderdale, then went to the bathroom, loaded the handgun, and walked out firing. George Pirro is the FBI agent leading the investigation.
We are looking at all avenues. We have not ruled out terrorism, and we will be pursuing every angle to try to determine the motive behind this attack.
Many people didn't realize you can actually take a gun and ammunition onto a flight. You can check it. You can't go through the TSA with it, but it can be checked luggage. Dana, now people are wondering, will the shooting here in Fort Lauderdale compel the TSA and even lawmakers to reconsider that right?
David Begnaud in Fort Lauderdale. Thank you, David.